All right, hey everyone, Jammer here from Jammer's Wrestling Magazine Collection, and today I have an interesting video of sorts, and it was given to me. The idea was given to me by a person who follows my channel, who watches the videos, who comments. His name is 1980 Triumph, and he's a big Coliseum video guy. And he was talking to me about the Coliseum video collection. And I told him how I had some, and he was hoping I did a little video on it. So I thought I would do that today, but include the wrestling magazines in it as well. And I have, there's a way to do that, thankfully. I will show you if I get to the right page here for it. So right here, they actually, hold on here, I'm gonna see if I can raise this up a bit. There we go. They actually sold the Coliseum videos in the old wrestling magazines. So here you could buy Best of the WWF Volume 1, Bloopers, Bleeps, and Body Slams, Hulkamania, WrestleMania, and WrestleMania 2. They're all $59.95 each. Imagine that. Like, this is back in the 80s, a VHS tape being $60. And no wonder we rented them at the video stores, right? For $3 for the night or whatever. Plus, you could take it home. If you had 2 VCRs, you could record it. But, I mean, I wouldn't have done that. No, not at all. But anyways, they do have other advertisements in here, too, that you could get. You can get the WWF's TNT show, the Macho Man Randy Savage and Elizabeth, and the Best of the WWF Volume 8. Those are all $59.95 as well. So it was kind of neat to look back here and see that you could buy these videos in the WWF magazine. Here's some more. We got the British Bulldogs, WWF's Inside the Steel Cage, and the Best of the WWF Volume 9. So these are all, they're, again, all $60, $59.95 to be exact, but still $60. And then even on this one here, we have the history of the Intercontinental Belt, the Hart Foundation, and the Best of the WWF Volume 11. These are all, I'm guessing, $59.95 again. If the price is here, I cannot see it on here, but I'm guessing that's what they are. Anyways, so these VHS tapes, these things are something that we grew up watching, renting. That was our wrestling fix. And with the help of the internet over the years, thanks to torrent sites back in, I want to say 2009, 2010 era, I could find these on, it was called Extreme Wrestling Torrents. I download the Coliseum video episode, I'd burn it to a DVD, and I'd have it. And at the time, I thought that was good enough. But that all changed as time went on because eBay happened. And with eBay, you end up getting things. Now, first of all, I should backtrack just a bit. I had an ex-girlfriend in 2006 who worked at a movie store, and the owner of the store gave her these old wrestling tapes. She knew that I liked wrestling because I'm guessing the ex-girlfriend mentioned it or something. So I remember she sent me a message. This was back in MSN days, if anyone who's old enough remembers MSN. It's a chat that you did on the computer, and she had a list of like these names of wrestling tapes. I'm like, well, yeah, I would like those. And she ended up giving them to me. And so that's how it all started. As time went on, some of the ones I sold, I just didn't want because I only wanted to collect certain ones. But thanks to her, I ended up getting, this is the first one I ever, this is right from that store, Rowdy Roddy Piper's Greatest Hits. This is a long tape. This is like almost a 2-hour video, which was kind of, the only 2-hour videos back then were like the pay-per-views. They'd cut them down to 2 hours. But to have like one just compilation tape of a guy for almost 2 hours is pretty crazy. You get a lot of interesting things here. You get the setup to WrestleMania 1. You get Hogan and Piper at the war to settle the score on here. And that is like the first one that I got, thanks to her. So that's one good thing I can say about that ex-girlfriend. I ended up getting that tape because of her. I also got this one as well from her, Hulkamania 2, which is a 2-hour, let me put this down now, I guess, to see them better. 2-hour tape on the Hulkster. This thing is stacked with matches. You get Hogan and Kamala, Hogan versus Savage, Hogan and George Steele against Savage and Adonis, Hogan and Bundy, Hogan and Beefcake, Hogan and Orndorff against Bundy and Stud, where the turn happens, where Orndorff turns on Hogan. Hogan and Orndorff in the cage, I believe, is on this one from Saturday Night's Main Event. Hogan and Hillbilly Jim against Bundy and Stud, I believe, is also on here. The Hulk Machine, where he's wearing the mask, like it is stacked. That is a stacked Hogan tape, and I think out of all the Hulkamania tapes, that one is easily the best one that they ever created. Now, with that being said, I had these, and I browsed eBay one night as things happen, and I ended up with well, let's just say things started to snowball. First of all, before eBay, I should say, I kind of forgot this. I ended up getting this through a trade on, I kind of forgot this story. I ended up getting this on a trade on Facebook. Someone wanted some old, I forget what, I don't even know what it was now. Something that was old school wrestling that I just didn't want anymore. I want to say they were beta tape version of Inside the Steel Cage. It was a beta tape, and I mean, I don't have a beta machine. So instead, I traded for this. Brutus the Barber Beefcake. This one was something I always wanted as a kid. I remember seeing it like, at the end of the videos where they'd hype the next 3 videos that were coming out, which was always exciting. This was one of them. And I mean, this isn't a great tape. It's just Beefcake. Like, I think it's got Beefcake as a heel against Hogan, and as a heel with Valentine against the Bulldogs twice. And then it shows him becoming the Barber and wrestling the likes of Valentine and Honky and tagging with the Rougeaus against Bravo and Johnny V and Valentine and such. But still, it's a pretty cool tape because I'm a Beefcake fan. So now, I wanted it. Then came eBay. This is the story here. So there's 3 tapes I always wanted to own, always wanted to have. I remember seeing clips again at the end of the Coliseum videos of what's coming out next, and this is it. Could never even find them to rent back when I was a kid, or even a teenager when, because I was a teenager in the 90s, so video stores were still out there and they still had wrestling tapes. But I ended up getting these off of the Bay of E. I got them for, I think, a good price. I mean, maybe I overpaid. This is 2005. Was it 2015? I think I got these, or 14. I remember Zeke Zanzibar helped me out with this, and I remember he brought these 2 tapes over actually it's 3 tapes on WrestleMania 30, the one where Daniel Bryan won the title. That was 2014. Oh yeah, it's 2014. Okay. So these were the 3 tapes. 2 of the tapes I really wanted. The third one was just an added bonus that I had to have to the collection. The first one was this, the British Bulldogs. I ended up paying $40 for this in 2014. And I always wanted this. I remember they showed clips of it at the end of one of the videos. And I remember thinking, man, I loved the Bulldogs when I was a kid. I needed to own this, and I finally have it. And yes, I did watch all these tapes one time through. They all do work. At least they did when I watched them 10 years ago. So I know they do work. I went through and I watched them and I recorded them to DVD. I had a DVD burner or DVD recorder at the time. So the British Bulldogs, definitely one I wanted. The other one, of course, and Andrea A., who follows me, would appreciate this one. I always wanted, and then I got to own the Hart Foundation. This was a $60 tape in 2014. So I don't know how much these go for now because of the WWE Network. Maybe they go less because they're on there. Maybe they go more because maybe they're edited on there. I don't know. I haven't watched those Coliseum videos on the network yet to know. But this one, again, I remember seeing it in like what's coming out next. And I never got a chance to see it as a kid. It's great. It's got a lot of great matches. The Hart Foundation against the Bulldogs, the Rougeaus, Killer Bees, them winning the tag titles. Everything is on here that you could want in Bret and Jim. It's an amazing VHS tape. The third tape I also got in that collection. I believe I'm guessing the guy was selling all of these in one go. That's probably how I got it. And it's this here from the 1994 tape of Bret Hitman Hart. It's got a lot of like late 93 through 94 stuff on there. Perfect for the new generation era. But, you know, Bret Hart, I had to have it. I'm a huge Hitman fan. Always have, always will be. So that was the kind of the snowball effect now into things. Things got worse as I ended up doing another trade online for this I forget what it was for. But I ended up again some old stuff. But I want to say it was probably all these. I remember it was all Hogan. I remember I got Hulkamania 1, which is an hour-long tape. That's the first Hogan. That's in that magazine I talk about. It shows him beating the Sheik for the title. It shows him against David Schultz, Big John Studd, Greg Valentine. It's pretty decent tape. It's pretty much 1984 footage of the Hulkster. So you can't really go wrong with that. I also got this one, the Hulkster Hulk Hogan. Now this is the tape. There's 3 of these. There's this one, the highlights of WrestleMania 1, and I want to say WWF's greatest matches. They're all under 60 minutes, but the end of them will have a video. You know what that opening song, that do-do, 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 you know that? Remember how they had that at the beginning of the Coliseum videos? They would have that at the end of this, showing the WWF Coliseum videos from the very beginning. So the first one was Hulkamania was the first one. That was 001, all the way through to the best of the WWF Volume 6. So anything that came out in between, so that would be, I think they were releasing 3 videos at a time. So, you know, that's like 18 videos, maybe 19 if WrestleMania was out on its own. I'm not entirely sure, but I think that was part of a 3 video group. Anyways, they would show that at the end of those tapes, and you got to see what you could go out and buy or rent. And this tape here has Hogan against Morocco, Hogan against the Sheik again for the title. It also shows Sheik beating Backlund for the title to set that up for the match. Hogan and Beefcake, and I want to say there's another Hogan match on there, but I'm not entirely. Maybe it's 2 Hogan Sheik matches. I'm not entirely sure. It's been, like I said, it's been a long time since I've watched that. I also got all these. Now, these are later Coliseum videos, like Hulk Hogan Real American. They're from the Collector series, I guess. This is like a different, like a offshoot line from the Coliseum video, but it's still Coliseum video. It shows him against Andre, Volkov, King Haku, and the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. And these matches vary through like 1984 through like 1991. Like, you're going to get like the most random of stuff on here. Like, here you got Hogan and Flair, Hogan against Typhoon, Hogan and Mr. Perfect, and Hogan the $1 Million Man wrestling. That's the Immortal Hulk Hogan. This is Hulk Hogan's greatest matches. So you got like Hogan and Slaughter, and Hogan and Macho Man, Hogan and Andre, and Hogan and The Undertaker. So again, these just all vary. The best of Hulkamania again, Hogan and Boss Man in a cage, Hogan against Macho King, WrestleMania 3 with Hogan and Andre on here. It's like, really, that again? Like, so they just kind of go all over the place with matches. Again, this was like an offshoot to the Coliseum video original line, but they are Coliseum videos. I forget. There's like other ones, so you can get like the Ultimate Warrior in this. I believe you'll get like Greatest Champions. Actually, I do have. This is my first ever VHS tape I ever owned for WWF, and it goes with these. It's called Greatest Champions. And there it is, and it's pretty beat up, right? Like, this is my original. You get Hogan and Warrior at WrestleMania 6, Hogan and Slaughter at MSG in a return match after WrestleMania 7. You get the Hart Foundation against Power and Glory at, I believe it's like a London, Ontario house show or Brantford or something. It's really weird, but there was like cameras and commentary for it. Macho Man against Andre from Madison Square Garden, and I want to say was there another one? Hogan, Macho, Hart Foundation, Mr. Perfect, and Warrior. No, I guess that's everything. That's everything. So the interesting thing on this one, they show Mr. Perfect against the British Bulldog for the Intercontinental title. I don't know if anyone remembers this or have seen it. It's the match where they do the finger lock up, like the test of strength, and Bulldog hits Perfect with it, and Perfect yells out, "Ah, you son of a bitch!" And everyone the whole crowd just pops, and the fans start cheering and laughing because Bulldog just, was stronger than him. And I remember watching that as a kid, thinking how hilarious it was to hear Mr. Perfect swear, and that they didn't beep it out. They allowed it to stay on the tape. It was ridiculously cool. Anyways, they do actually show highlights too of how every wrestler won the belts as well. They show the Hart Foundation beating the Bulldogs and Demolition. They show Mr. Perfect beating the Tornado and beating Santana in the finals. They show Macho Man at WrestleMania 4 winning the belt in the tournament, like the highlights. So it's kind of neat. That's a cool tape. It's an hour long, but it's very cool. Okay, so now, next up, I ended up having to own this tape, or these two tapes, I should say, because of the Hulkster. I mean, I got Hulkamania 1, I got Hulkamania 2. It's got to continue on. So, boom, I end up getting Hulkamania 3, which is pretty much just setting up Hogan and Andre at WrestleMania 3, and then and pretty much the aftermath of that. It's not a very good Hulkamania tape. I believe he's on a boat in it too, talking. It's just really with Craig DeGeorge, I believe, is who's on there with him. And Hulkamania 4, I remember renting this all the time as a kid. I like this one a lot. Again, this probably right underneath Hulkamania 2. I'd say this is the next best Hogan tape. After that one, you get Hogan against Savage, $1 Million Man, Boss Man, Honky Tonk Man. I think Bad News Brown even. They show the deal with Zeus and everything and how that came to be. So it was look how jacked Hogan looks on the cover of that one. But yeah, that's also this one here. I believe that's the cover of WrestleMania for the Nintendo game with Hogan ripping the shirt like that. So because of that, I had to get these as well. Hulkamania Forever. Took me forever to get this one. It was hard to find. Ironically, I actually found it shrink wrapped, and being an idiot, I opened it because I wanted to watch it, and I could have probably just watched a copy off a torrent site. This came with it. The Hulkamania friendship bracelet. I still have it to this day. It came with this tape, Hulkamania Forever. Again, this is pretty much from 1990 and such, and it's like Hogan and Bravo, Hogan Earthquake, that era. I guess Hogan without the title belt era, right? Hulkamania 6, this one here. Another classic. I remember renting this as a kid too, and it's pretty much everything with Slaughter, 1991 stuff. Undertaker. I think this is the video that has a sweet workout session with Hogan and Beefcake and Savage together. This also is when they switched the cardboard, made them a little bit bigger for some reason, almost trying to bring back that clamshell look, but it wasn't. Not really a fan of it, but I'd rather than just have them in clamshells, but it still looks all right. Now, speaking about clamshells, this is a tape I had to own. I probably overpaid for it in 2014 because that's when I was pretty heavy getting these. I don't care. I own it now. Macho Man, Randy Savage, and Elizabeth. I always wanted this tape to see as a kid. Never could find it to rent. Got it. Watched it. It was awesome. So much good stuff on here. It shows him and Hogan in a match, a lumberjack match at Madison Square Garden. It has him against George Steele on Saturday night's main event with a very young Dean Malenko as the referee because they were down in Florida for that event. And the ring was really low to the ground, too. It was a weird ring they had, too, that day. And I believe the rope colors were off. I think it was like blue, red, white, or something like that. It was really weird. Also, they have the Macho Man, Tito Santana feud on here showing Mach winning the belt off Santana and Boston Garden. And then like the 4 rematches they had after that. And a tag match with him and Adonis against Tito and Bruno Sammartino, who came out of retirement to work Savage in some matches. The last Clamshell tape I have is one that, I never saw as a kid to rent, but I thought I had to own this just because Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. I liked the Dragon a lot. This is early Ricky stuff, so it's before the Intercontinental title reign. It's pretty much his matches with Don Morocco. He's got Valentine Beefcakes. Yes, he does wrestle Savage on here, but it's from the Wrestling Classic pay-per-view, that tournament. So it's not anything like for the Intercontinental title or anything like that. And if you've seen the Wrestling Classic match, then you've seen that's the same match, right? Because of owning the Macho Man in Elizabeth tape, I had to get this one as well. Macho Madness. This is, of course, Macho Man's 1988 era with the WWF title. A lot of matches with Ted DiBiase and Andre and such like that. You're going to get that on here. It's that era pretty much from, January 88 through August 88 or so. Even I believe the match with Honky Tonk Man's on there too, where he was trying to get the Intercontinental title back still, but still pretty cool. Now, here's one that's something different. I got these. These are Columbia House. Remember Columbia? They did like CDs and movies and such. You can get like 1 cent ones and all that. I'm pretty sure because this is Columbia House Video, so they released wrestling too. And I own 2 of them for various obvious reasons. One is the Best of Hulkamania. And this has pretty much all his title matches. It's got him and Sheik. It's got him and Andre at WrestleMania 3. It's got him and Undertaker, him and Savage at WrestleMania 5, and him and Slaughter at 7, I believe, are all on that one. And the other one I got, of course, is the Best of Bret Hitman Hart. This is an interesting tape. It's got matches with Bam Bam Bigelow and Shawn Michaels on there. And Blake Beverly, too, for some reason. Blake Beverly gets a match on there with Bret. And I think there's another one, too, a 4th match. I forget what it is now. But had to own it because it's Bret, right? I had to own it because it's Bret. Let me back this up a bit here to get the everything in frame there. As for Bret, 2 more VHS tapes I own of his, too, of course. This is The Excellence of Execution, Bret Hitman Hart. It shows him with Yoko at WrestleMania 10. You get Shawn Michaels in a steel cage. You get matches against IRS, Bam Bam Bigelow, and Fatu from the Head Shrinkers as well. And this may be the worst Bret Hart Coliseum videotape ever, but I had to own it because it's Bret. It came out in like 97. Bret Hitman Hart. This is it. It features him and Austin at Survivor Series, though. But you also get matches with Owen Hart from Raw, Big Van Vader, I guess Vader from Raw, and Psycho Sid from In Your House, It's Time, where he lost. Bret only won one match on this tape and lost. I think the three against Vader, Owen, and Sid, he all lost. Plus, you get the You Start the Fire music video on this tape as well. That may be just as bad as the Jake the Snake Roberts Coliseum videotape, which has him winning, I believe, one match out of like 8 that they show. They show him losing to Steamboat, show him losing to King Kong Bundy. They showed him losing to everyone, and it was like the worst best of tape you could have for an individual. Like, you're telling me Jake didn't get any wins? And the same can be said for that Bret Hart one. You're telling me out of all the Bret Hart footage, you couldn't find ones where he at least had some wins? I mean, ridiculous. Next up now, because of, this era, I also have this one. Shawn Michaels, the best hits from the Heartbreak Kid. This has matches with Razor Ramon from SummerSlam 95 ladder match. You get matches with Owen Hart from In Your House. Or is it? No, wait. Is that from In Your? Yeah, I think it's from In Your House 90. Yeah, February 96. That's the one. Yokozuna and Tatanka. Yoko's from Raw. Tatanka's from Superstars. And, of course, highlights of Shawn winning the 96 Royal Rumble. Because of that one, I had to go out and own this. This is Shawn Michaels' Heartbreak Express Tour. So if you have... hold on one second here. Let me just get this for you to show you. If you own this on DVD... The Boyhood Dream, that's it. That's the same. It's the same exact tape. Only difference is they put this on DVD. They renamed it, and this is the VHS version of it. So you get, WrestleMania 12 highlights with Bret, In Your House with Diesel, In Your House with the Bulldog, In Your House with Sid. He didn't wrestle Sid In Your House. They I don't know. They screwed that up. It's tagging with Sid. It was him, Sid, and Ahmed against Camp Cornette. I don't know why they screwed that up. SummerSlam with Vader, In Your House with Mankind's on here, Survivor Series with Sid, and even Royal Rumble 97 with Sid is highlighted on here. This is a 2-hour-long DVD. So as you can tell, the Bret and Shawn WrestleMania match is cut down drastically. Thank God. I hated that match. I'm a huge Bret and a huge Shawn fan, no doubt, as you can tell. I did not like the Iron Man match at WrestleMania 12. I thought that was one of the worst, longest, boringest matches ever. And maybe if they had pinfalls or submissions in it, it would have been a little more exciting. And it just, any other match, those two, you can go out and rent a Coliseum video from 93 or 94, and you'll see a Bret Shawn match on there somewhere, either for the Intercontinental title or just a match they're having, and it's going to be 100 times better than their WrestleMania 12 match. I swear on that. So, also now, Coliseum videos. I had to get these two because I was a huge fan. Number one, boom! Big Daddy Cool Diesel. How could I not have this one? I love Diesel. He was the man to me. He was great. My favorite wrestler, along with Shawn and Bret. Those guys, those three ran neck and neck for me in 95. You get Diesel and Shawn at WrestleMania 11 for the title. Diesel and Bret Hart from the Royal Rumble 95, which to this day, I still say the Royal Rumble 95 match with Bret and Diesel, I like it better than their Survivor Series 95 match. Maybe because there wasn't a proper winner. I never want to see either guy lose. So the fact that they both kind of had a draw because of all the interference, it made it a cool match to me. You get Diesel against Double J Jeff Jarrett, Diesel against King Kong Bundy, and Diesel against Owen Hart on this one. So it's 1995 for sure for that one with Diesel. And, of course, this that's only an hour-long tape, by the way. All these are hour-longs. That's a 2-hour one, of course. Razor Ramon here, Oozing Machismo. I had to own this one. It's probably worth a lot more now that he's passed away because people suck and they always raise the prices when someone passes on. But this is an amazing one. Pretty much a lot of stuff from either late 93 all the way through 94. You get the WrestleMania 10 ladder match on here, of course. Matches with Rick Martel, Adam Bomb, Crush, Jeff Jarrett, Bam Bam Bigelow, as you can see. Very, very cool tape. Last but not least is one here that ironically, I get to show with a magazine. This is so cool. Back in 1994, I wanted to add wrestling tapes to my collection. Uh, they were kind of hard to find then, very scarce. You couldn't even really find any to rent that often. It was a really weird time, right? 94 was not a good time period for wrestling. Uh, so I went to a video store in a small town near where I lived, and I got to order. They had like the books, like, well, you can order order videos out of the magazine. And I looked at the wrestling section and I found this. I was like, well, this would be cool to have, the history of WrestleMania, because at the time I hadn't seen all the WrestleManias yet, which is true. I never got to see WrestleMania 3 in full. By 1994, I never saw WrestleMania 8 in full by WrestleMania or by 1994. And I never got to see WrestleMania 1 in full because I only had the highlight tape, and they cut a lot of stuff out and cut it down. So I got this. I thought it would be kind of cool to see. The only problem is with this, and I didn't understand it at the time, but now I know years later, I always wondered why for WrestleMania 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6, why they dubbed over commentary. It was Jim Ross, I think, and Gorilla Monsoon doing it. And then WrestleMania 7, it was the normal commentary through 9. 7, 8, 9 was normal. I didn't realize till years later it was because of Jesse the Body Ventura and the whole lawsuit where he gets paid if his commentary is being used on a tape that's being sold. So that kind of takes away from it, that you miss out on hearing Jesse and Gorilla call the action. Or in WrestleMania 2 case, Jesse and Lord Alfred Hayes. But for Easter that year of 1994, the Easter Bunny brought me this. It's a book, WrestleMania 1 through 9, and I'll open it up and take a look so you guys can see it. It's the one cool thing about this is, unlike the tape, I actually get all the matches here. The tape only gives you 4 matches of each WrestleMania, and they highlight. But I think this is cool. I remember seeing this right off the bat when I opened it up. I was like, oh my God, new Hasbro wrestling figures. And of course, I never saw any of these in any store in Canada. I never saw any single one of these ever. And if you're from Canada and you're watching this, let me know if you ever saw this line in Canada. I believe this is the red card and the purple card line, if my memory is good on this. And the last Hasbros I ever saw in Canada was the line with the likes of Sid, Justice, the Mountie, Virgil, Jim the Anvil Neidhart, and that would have been like 92. So I don't know what happened. But anyways, they just go through and they start at WrestleMania 9 and work their way back. And they just show you, the pictures of the match. So it was kind of neat. And this is a thick, very, very, very thick magazine. There is, what game is that? Oh, Terminator 2, the arcade game. There's some things the Zanzibar could add to his video game collection. But no, this magazine was only $5.95 in Canada, $3.95 in the US, and £2.25 in the UK. So, that's kind of neat. That's very neat. They go together. WWF Coliseum videos. Very, very cool. Very, very unique trip looking back at these. I rented many of them back in the day. I rented, for WrestleMania, I can tell you I rented WrestleMania 2, WrestleMania 4, WrestleMania 5, and that was it for the ones I rented. Oh, and then as I got older, I rented WrestleMania 10, 11, and such. But as a kid, I'm thinking as a kid, it was 2, 4, and 5 I would rent. For SummerSlam, I only ever found to rent back then as a kid, SummerSlam 89. It took me years till I finally saw 88, because no one had it to rent. None of the stores at the time had it that I would frequent to where the video rentals were at. For Royal Rumble, I remember renting 89 and watching it. I always wondered why they cut out the Harley Race Haku match off that, but it was for time. And I rent for Survivor Series. I remember renting 87 and 89. So, and I always remembered in 87 why I never saw the Bulldogs get eliminated. It wasn't until I saw it on pay-per-view many years later that when I got it through a torrent site, how the Bulldogs got eliminated from that event. But yeah, and then for, miscellaneous Coliseum videos, I remember renting WWF's Most Unusual Matches, then WWF's Even More Unusual Matches that had Hercules on the cover with the chain. I remember renting Best of the WWF Volume 2, which I absolutely hated. It was more like a throwback to like the 70s on it mainly. It was, anyone who old school wrestling fans would love it. I did not watch it, and I wasn't even born in the 70s, so how am I supposed to remember that stuff? Really good Santana Orndorff matches on it, though, for the Intercontinental title. I do remember that. I remember I also rented Best of the WWF Volume, I think it was 17. I want to say it had the main match on it was Andre and Duggan from Boston Garden, but they also had I want to say the British Bulldogs losing to the Bolsheviks on it, and the Rockers and the Rougeaus wrestling each other, and the Bulldogs came down to help out the Rockers. It was an okay tape. I do remember liking it. What else? I remember renting Inside the Steel Cage. So I remember seeing Andre the Giant jump off the top rope and land. You know how Doink had that finisher where he would jump off the top rope and land ass first on his opponent? Andre the Giant did that off the top rope in 1984 on the Kamala. That was incredible to see. So you need to find footage of that. He also does it to Big John Studd, too, in a steel cage match. It's just, wow. It's just crazy to think Andre the Giant was doing that shit back in 1984. What else? I know I rented more tapes back in the day. I'm drawing a blank. But as you know, what can I say? Coliseum videos. Well, of course, I rented Hulkamania 4 and Hulkamania 6 back in the day. So there we go. But yeah, I'm just saying, like, these were awesome. These are awesome tapes, and just that whole era. Again, it goes with the wrestling magazines. There was something magical about walking into a variety store in the 80s or even early 90s and going to the magazine shelf and seeing all the different wrestling magazines to choose from, not just the Stanley Weston ones, but the other kind too, the Wrestling Fury, the Wrestling Scene, the Main Event Wrestling, the Wrestling Eye. And you had all these, and the WWF magazines, you had all this option to choose from, and it was overwhelming, but so much fun. The same was to be said to walk into a variety store and go to the rental section of the videotapes and look at the sports section and see the wrestling tapes. Which one do I want to rent tonight? There's so many to choose from, and it's just so exciting. And unfortunately, that excitement that we felt as kids and teenagers over this will never be duplicated. We'll never find it again. And we're trying to come as close as we can. I was talking to Zeke Zanzibar last night about this. He's a big video game guy. I said, wouldn't it be cool if because he has a lot. He worked hard to get his collection and paid probably more money than he should have to but he wanted it. I said to him, wouldn't it be cool if you could have shelves on the wall with them all, facing you like you'd have back in the day at like a video store to rent? And because I said the same thing, I would love to have my wrestling magazines in a newsstand, like a magazine stand. And I would love to do monthly ones, like this month is September. So I would put out all the September ones I have of every year on the stand just to be like a throwback, like which one do I want to pick up today and look at and read, or just, whatever. Unfortunately, we're trying to find these feelings we had when we were younger that made us happy now. And we're coming close, but I don't think we're ever going to get there, because that's a nostalgic feeling that just cannot be replaced. But to those out there who also thrive like I do with this, You know, I'm hoping I'm giving you guys something to enjoy here, at least maybe a little bit of that thrill through watching these videos. And I'm glad you guys are sticking through and watching these. Again, I want to thank 1980 Triumph so much for giving me this idea. I hope this was enjoyable for you to look at these videotapes I have. And maybe you have some of these too, and such, or watch them. And I hope some of you as well at home watching this right now can remember these greatly and fondly, and perhaps may inspire you to want to go out and purchase some as well for your collection, just to say, hey, I got these. Especially if you remember watching one so religiously when you were a kid, you might want to own it now just for that throwback nostalgic feeling. All right, thank you everyone for watching. I'm up to like over 260 subscribers now, so thank you all. I hope you guys are enjoying these videos. I'm having a blast making them. Thank you for the comments and everything. I get back to all you guys, at least I try to. If I've missed you, I'm so sorry. But until I do my next video, I will talk to you guys later.